So, you want to start photography. You buy your first DSLR camera, you look at it, you're like, what do I do? What I'm going to be doing in today's video is just talking through all like the main points of how to use like the manual setting on a DSLR camera. So there is a few steps. There's aperture and ISO, all that sort of stuff. I'm going to be talking through all the like little bits and bats of getting around a DSLR camera. So the first thing that we need to think about is aperture. Basically, you've got f1.4 all the way up to f22. So what do they do? F1.4 is it lets a lot less light in and it creates a more shallow depth of field, and f22 lets a lot more light in and has a higher depth of field. It like makes all of like the picture in focus more than just your subject. So I'll put a example on screen now of my bag that I've just taken pictures of from f1.4 all the way up to f22, so you can sort of see the differences between all of them. So obviously the shallow depth of field, the high depth of field, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that's the first thing. F-stop. On to the next one. So ISO, what is it? What's it do? What's it used for? Basically, ISO is the amount of light that the camera sensor actually lets in. So the lower the ISO, so ISO 100, the less light that's been let in, the less grainy your footage is going to look. The higher the number, so like 6400, 64,000, whatever your camera goes up to, the more grainy your pictures are going to look, but it lets more light in. So you're getting more light, but you're getting grain as well. So basically, what you want to do is try and keep it as low as possible when you're taking your pictures, because if not, your photos are going to look a little bit rubbish, which isn't a problem. I'd rather have grainy footage than blurry. So that's basically all ISO is. The lower the number, the less light, the higher number, the more light. Pretty much like aperture, really. So we've got one final thing to talk about, and that is shutter speed. Shutter speed is how quick your shutter shuts, basically. Simply, that's how it works, really. The number 1 dash and whatever that number is, that's your shutter speed, and that's how many that's like how quick it shuts, pretty much. So like 1/60th of a second, that's how quick it shuts, so that's like a really long shutter, whereas 1/8000th of a second is really quick. And the way that you use your shutter speed can change the way that your pictures look once they've been taken. So pretty much, if you put it down to like 3 or 4 seconds and you're in a city at night, you press your shutter, you let it do its thing, that's a long exposure. Long exposures are like how long the exposure's been like how long like your shutter's been open for. So you press your button, your camera makes its noise, something moves past, and it's like a long blur pretty much. And that's what long exposure looks like. I'll put one on screen now. And the higher shutter speeds, like 1/8000th of a second, you can use that for like sport photography, any sort of like photography pretty much. So like if you're, let's say, at an F1 race or something, you want to get that like car moving, and it's moving at like 200 miles an hour. So you want that high shutter speed so you can catch it and get it in focus. So they're like the main 3 points. You've got aperture, ISO, and your shutter speed. They're the 3 main things you want to think about whilst taking your pictures. You want to merge them all together to make your videos exposed correctly, pretty much. And what I mean by that is like, because I personally underexpose my pictures so then I can bring it up, it's a lot easier to like bring back the shadows and stuff more than like overexposing it. You can't really bring down that overexposed light as well. So pretty much that's it. Shutter speed, ISO and aperture. That's basically the main 3 points of photography. And if you want another video of like how I've already got a video actually of how I edit. So I go into Lightroom, go into depth of how I like sort of use like the little sliders and stuff to make sure my pictures look pretty decent. And I can't lie, I like the way that I edit. People might not, but if you want to go check that out, there'll be a link in the description of this video. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about photography and how it all works, how everything comes together and works as a team to make them pictures turn out the way that you want. And I will see you in the next video.